From the strange blueberry stones to giant sand whirlwinds and mysterious objects that seem to defy all our ideas about a lifeless desert. Today we stand on the threshold of the most incredible discoveries on Mars, each capable of overturning all familiar stereotypes. Today on the TopFacts channel, we explore the past, present, and future of the Red Planet. Since the moment research probes first landed on Mars, we have seen rocks of the most bizarre shapes and colors, but those that gained particular fame are the so-called Martian blueberry berries, discovered by the rover Opportunity back in the early 2000s. These tiny rounded stones with an iron-rich composition and a characteristic bluish tint truly look like a handful of forest berries scattered on the surface. The question is how exactly they formed and why they remained in such quantity. Scientists believe a large water flow that existed here millions of years ago could have played a significant role in their formation. After all, spherical shapes do not simply arise on their own. It likely took prolonged exposure to water to smooth and give the stones a spherical appearance. So these blueberry finds help confirm that extensive bodies of water once existed on Mars. Researchers are now trying to trace the details of this process by studying similar phenomena in the deserts of Utah and Mongolia. Rovers on Mars often encounter unusual stones, but one stone in particular caused a stir because its shape resembled a donut with a hole in the center. A theory emerged that this was a fragment of a meteorite that split in such a complex way. There were smaller fragments scattered around. It is possible that when it hit the surface, the central part fell out while the outer edges remained in the form of a bagel. Although some believe that it too might be the result of long-term erosion. In any case, this pastry looks quite appetizing, though in reality it is, of course, just a piece of Martian rock. Among the multitude of images that appear online, some people claim they saw a whole Roman Coliseum in the photographs. One enthusiast even insisted he had found proof of ancient structures on Mars resembling the ruins of great arenas. He declared that the higher-ups were hiding the pictures for fear of causing a panic, since such a revelation about an extraterrestrial civilization could shake the entire world. But such images sometimes emerge in the noisy depths of the internet, and proving their authenticity is not so simple. On the other hand, who knows what surprises Mars truly holds? Because Mars's atmosphere is much thinner, larger meteorites often reach the surface almost intact. One of these visitors is an object nicknamed the Egg-Shaped Stone due to its rounded form. It was found by the rover Curiosity. Analysis revealed that this meteorite contains iron and nickel, which is fairly typical of certain asteroidal debris in the solar system. Scientists intend to figure out how long it lay on the surface and what processes changed it over time. After all, there are still winds on Mars as well as temperature fluctuations. By studying such finds, we can forecast how quickly materials wear down, which is very useful when planning long-term human stays and building bases on Mars. Sometimes, rover photographs show shapes that resemble very familiar Earth images. Once, there was even an announcement that the photo revealed a figure resembling the popular advertising character, Mr. Peanut, in his top hat. Of course, it is only the imagination at play, just like trying to see animal outlines in clouds. The human brain is used to finding recognizable forms in any pattern. This is called pareidolia. Applied to Mars, it unleashes people's fantasies. They start believing they see a dinosaur skeleton here, a hat there, or a doorway somewhere else. But most often, it is just ordinary rocks and random light and shadows. One of the largest landmarks on Mars is Olympus Mons, recognized as the biggest volcano in the entire solar system. If we compare its size to earthly analogs, it is something taller than any mountain peak on Earth and can rival an entire country in area. Scientists puzzle over how such a colossal structure formed, and especially whether any volcanic activity remains inside it, because if this volcano awakens, we cannot imagine what the consequences would be. It is not the only volcanic feature on the red planet. There are several similar colossi, all of which exceed their Earth counterparts by multiple times. For future missions contemplating colonization, it is important to determine whether these volcanoes pose a threat. Although Martian volcanoes, according to data, have long been inactive, unforeseen processes cannot be entirely ruled out. In the latest research, Perseverance has found evidence that makes it even more likely that bodies of water once existed on Mars. The collected rock samples indicate that there really was a whole lake in one of the craters at some point. This is a truly important find, because if a lake did exist, then possibly microorganisms lived there as well. The presence of liquid water in the past increases the chances for life. Scientists believe that if any organic signatures remain in the Martian soil, these are the regions where we should search. Of course, this is still only speculation, but if we manage to drill deeper and gather more ancient samples, we can better understand what Mars once looked like and whether life could truly have arisen there. For a closer look at history, there is the story of Canals on Mars, which began its journey back in the 19th century. An Italian astronomer observing Mars through a telescope noted canali on its surface. When his report was translated, the word canali sounded as though referring to man-made structures, and that was that. People began to believe Mars had an irrigation network built by extraterrestrial civilizations. Beyond that, various artists started drawing maps of the planet interconnected by these branching ditches. Later, when technology advanced and more powerful telescopes appeared, it became clear that the lines people had seen were just an illusion caused by the low-resolution images, and there were no signs of artificial canals. Yet it is from this legend that our modern fascination with Mars was born. People still search for signs of life there and long to unravel its mysteries. There are also times when people see something clearly metallic in photos and cry out about alien technologies. At one point, a shiny sheet was found on the Martian surface, resembling a fragment of a spacecraft. But the truth is that it really was a piece of a spacecraft, just not Martian, but ours from Earth. The so-called belly panel of the rover Perseverance had been removed by the rover itself to gain access to sampling instruments. That metal component was left lying on the surface. If you did not know its origin, you might well think, "Wow, aliens." When scientists first obtained images from orbital satellites, many people noticed pyramid-like structures on the red surface. Especially loud rumors circulated after the Viking mission in the 1970s. One of the photographs looked like a four-sided pyramid. Naturally, conspiracy theories emerged about ancient civilizations scattered across various planets. However, more detailed investigation and new images showed that the mysterious pyramids were merely mesas, special highlands, or hills that visually take on a pyramidal shape from certain angles and due to light and shadow. In the ice of Antarctica, for instance, pyramids were also found, which turned out to be ordinary mountainous formations. But we humans are inclined to recognize familiar forms in nature's unusual patterns. Mars, it seems, is no exception. Mass hype about the so-called face on Mars flared up back in the 1970s, thanks to the Viking 1 spacecraft. In one of the images taken in the Cydonia region, a rock formation could indeed be seen that appeared to have eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Those inclined to believe in extraterrestrial civilizations immediately spoke of a giant statue or construction. Even then, NASA emphasized that the apparent head was merely the play of light and shadow on a hill. And later, when sharper images came from more modern craft, it became obvious. There was no hint of a face there. We just love to fill in familiar images in random outlines. In the southern polar regions of Mars, you can sometimes see astonishing patterns on the surface ice and dust. At one point, outlines were captured there that looked like an angel's wing or a devil's silhouette, and nearby was a giant heart. The sight was so striking that it caused a storm of discussion on the internet. But in the view of scientists, it is only the combination of thawing processes, dust accumulation, and meteorite impact traces. The gradual melting of ice together with sunlight creates the most elaborate shapes. Yet the actual pattern was likely not placed there intentionally. Nature is simply an abstract artist. In the early years of operations with the Curiosity rover and others on Mars, images periodically surfaced in which a sudden bright flash of light was seen in the distance. Right away, the internet was buzzing with theories about lanterns or alien origin stations. However, the explanation was far more down to earth. On Mars, there is practically no dense atmosphere to protect the surface from cosmic rays and solar glare, as on Earth. High-energy cosmic rays sometimes hit the camera directly, causing a brief flash of light. Additionally, there is the phenomenon of solar glare, when rays reflect off rocks in a certain way. As a result, a random bright glow might appear in the photo. There are certainly no electric lights there, of course. But for conquering Mars, such phenomena will have to be taken into account, since cosmic radiation can be dangerous to astronauts. Another photo that spread across the internet at lightning speed was one where people noticed a shape in the rock face that very much resembled a doorway. This door looks eerie, sharp lines, a rectangular niche, as if someone had truly carved out an entrance in the stone. Naturally, countless theories about aliens leaving ancient storehouses there began to circulate. But in reality, the explanation is much simpler and more mundane. The rock cracked naturally. Minor subterranean movements, collapses, winds, and you end up with a door-like effect. Moreover, by approximate calculations, the opening was only a few dozen centimeters high and wide, so a person could not even fit through it. Nature can be quite adept at surprising us with these optical illusions. And it is worth considering what we generally call strange on Mars, a planet with no signs of modern life. And suddenly there is something lying around that appears as though it was created or left by intelligent beings. That is exactly what happened when the rover named Perseverance found something in its landing area that looked like tangled threads or a piece of cloth. On Earth, seeing a bundle of tangled threads would not surprise anyone, but this is Mars, and it could not have just appeared by itself. The image was taken after the rover had landed on the red planet. So what is the explanation? It turned out these were scraps of special high-strength fabric used during the rover's descent onto the Martian surface. The fact is, Perseverance's landing apparatus discarded many components, those protective structure pieces that helped it land safely. The Dacron material used for the parachute's netted sections and landing systems could have torn and been scattered around. So the rover just stumbled upon its own tracks. Even so, this incident made specialists wonder how dangerous such debris might be for potential future missions, especially if humans eventually join the robots there. In one of the new batches of photographs from Curiosity, people noticed strange stone needles or spikes protruding from the ground. It looked as if thin stone twigs were growing out of the sand. Everyone was astonished because nothing like that had been seen so clearly before. Experts believe these protruding structures are the remains of a broader rock that was gradually carved by wind and erosion. Only the most durable sections remained, looking like slender spikes. Although this is a natural process, they truly resemble something from the realm of science fiction, as if fossilized stems of Martian plants. On a certain day, Perseverance captured something impressive. A colossal dust devil, or dust whirl, as it is sometimes called. These whirlwinds resemble terrestrial tornadoes, except they are mostly made up of dust and sand. The phenomenon itself is not all that surprising. Although Martian winds are weaker than Earth's, they can still form whirlwinds. What was unexpected was just how huge this whirlwind was. By some estimates, it exceeded the height of multiple skyscrapers on Earth, meaning it rose for many hundreds of meters, if not more. On Earth, an average tornado can reach over 1,000 meters in height, but the Martian version turned out to be even larger. This is important for future colonization considerations since such natural phenomena could pose a serious hazard. Plus, we do not know if there are even bigger whirlwinds. For future settlers, this could become a serious challenge. When a rover photo suddenly revealed a rock that strongly resembled a femur bone, a whole wave arose online. Here it is, proof of a large living creature on Mars. But if you look closely, you can see a bone of any animal in something that is merely an exposed rock, worn away by wind and time. However, such finds show how quickly rumors and assumptions about Martian life can appear. The thirst for sensationalism is strong, but it is clearly premature to officially confirm the existence of aliens. Until humans themselves set foot on Mars and check all these stones firsthand, rumors will persist. Yet in reality, it is most likely just another natural rock formation. If Olympus Mons is a volcanic giant, then Vales marinaris is truly a canyon giant. It stretches for many thousands of kilometers, with a depth reaching about 10 kilometers in certain areas. This makes it one of the largest structures of its kind in the entire solar system, many times more extensive than Earth's Grand Canyon. Debates continue about precisely what caused this monumental rift. Some point to powerful tectonic shifts. Others suggest that flowing water and lava streams may have played the key role. In any event, Vales marinaris remains the greatest monument of the Martian landscape, proving that the planet once experienced intense geological activity. An inseparable part of Mars's celebrity sights is the crater that from above resembles a smiley face, a huge circle with two eyes and a curved mouth. This discovery provided a wealth of jokes and was even dubbed the Happy Crater. But if you zoom in, you see that the eyes and smile are really just a few mounds and depressions, plus the shadow cast by the sun's rays. Perspective does its work. From a certain angle, the crater looks friendly, as though it is smiling at space probes. A couple of years ago, an orbital craft photographed local dunes that were so fancifully dotted with circular and elongated shapes that they resembled dots and dashes, as if someone were trying to write a message in Morse code on the planet's surface. Naturally, that too is only a visual association. The fact is, wind currents continually reshape the terrain, producing a swath of meandering lines in some areas, while in others they break off, forming island-like dunes. Altogether, these create patterns that appear to us as neat symbols. However, it is hardly an actual encoded message. In conclusion, as we reflect on these astonishing and often slightly eerie discoveries, we see just how full of mysteries Mars is, even if some of them turn out to be products of our imagination. Yet who can say? Maybe a few of the things we have seen will indeed spark a sensation once we can check them all with our own eyes. Well, that brings today's episode to a close. Thank you for staying with the TopFacts channel, the laboratory of incredible facts and videos from all over the internet. Subscribe to the channel, leave comments, and right now, watch 2 of our previous episodes, which have already appeared on your screen.